It's time for To the Max Sports, where we talk about sports. They're just two guys, Max and Drew, in a bar talking all things sports. Well, without the bar. And the beer. Wait, why aren't we in the bar?
Hello, and welcome to the Max Sports. You all know what time it is. It's time for
To the Max Sports.
That gentleman to my right, probably to your television left, is Jake. Navy Jake. Everyone's got a nickname. That's Brother Bob, your Navy Jake.
Perfect.
Jake did a 10-year bid in the Navy, still in. Wounded warrior. Thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
And, I was a 23-year career Army guy, being surrounded by two Navy guys. I don't know, man.
Well, you're trying to class up the joint. Yeah. We're kind of slumming.
All I can say is Army beat Navy this year. Silence. Crickets.
It's not really saying much. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, not to kind of go off on a tangent, I'm actually very interested to see what the 12-game playoff does to that Army-Navy game. Because that Army-Navy game has moved around a little bit. I mean, historically, It was that first weekend coming out of Thanksgiving. And then as everyone moved their conference championship games to that weekend, they purposely moved it to the next weekend to get clearance from it. Because, quite frankly, if you're up against conference championships or even up against early-stage bowl games, the average college football fan who doesn't know anything is not going to find that game.
That's true. So I say put it on Monday night. Make it a primetime game. Army-Navy.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyway, we'll see what happens. Well, guys, any takeaways from this week's NFL doings? I got a few opinions to opine on.
Apparently, for the NFL front office, only when fans can't get to the stadium do they postpone games. Not because you're going to put people in the hospital for hypothermia, but fans cannot legally get to the game.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that may be the first weather-related winter snow event cancellation. And I remember when San Diego came to Cincinnati in 81, and that game I was living up north then. That was miserable. I mean, wind chill was like minus 15. Yeah, of course, you had the famous Green Bay game. And we've had some cold ones, but I don't remember any of them being canceled or pushed back.
Yeah, and really, if the governor hadn't banned travel,
they would have showed up.
They would have played that game.
Some of them would have showed up, the fans, with their shirts off.
Yeah, that one guy getting paid $20 an hour to shovel snow in the stands, and then goes down and rides the snow chute without his shirt. Okay, PSA. For anybody living here in San Antonio, if you go to a northern climate in the middle of winter and the temperature reads 0 Fahrenheit, not 0 Celsius, 0 Fahrenheit, do not go outside without your shirt. Period.
That is our PSA. We always do something special on the show.
God, I couldn't believe those guys that were without shirts at the Kansas City game, they deserve to get hypothermia.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Exposed parts. Anyway,
they at least deserve to meet Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I mean, back to the football. A lot of it was.
Let's kind of break down a few games. Let's break down a few games. Takeaways from the Miami-Kansas City game. I thought Miami showed up on the field, said, "Fuck, it's cold. Let's just get this over with and get out of here."
I mean,
it was a complete mess.
I'm not going to denigrate the Dolphins that way and just say
you picked them to be in the Super Bowl.
Well, I picked them to be in the Super Bowl, but I'm like,
you thought they'd beat KC.
They're professionals. I think they had problems with injuries. They really weren't able to matriculate the ball downfield, and they were uncomfortable to start the game, but they did have some flashes. And possibly, but no. I mean, it was always going to be Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like when Pacheco was running, if he was running out of Miami defender, they were just hitting the proverbial deck on the ship.
Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Miami was. I mean, we're going to get to this game, but Miami was tackling better than Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, they looked like they absolutely did not want to be there. That was some of the worst tackling I've probably ever seen in a football game. It was absolutely pitiful.
I mean, that was though I needed to get to sleep because I had an early work call on Tuesday morning. So I went to sleep at halftime when it was like 16-9, I think is what it was. And I was like, okay. And Philadelphia kind of looked okay at the end of the first half. And I was like, they may come back. I may wake up tomorrow morning and Philadelphia's won this game and I lost this game.
Yeah, not a prayer.
And then I look at, they didn't score another damn point that whole entire game and had another 16. And Jalen Hurts had a safety?
Yeah, it was bad. I didn't put any money on any of the playoff games except for one. The second half of that game, I watched the first half, talking about the Philadelphia game, and I didn't see anything that indicated to me that they had any kind of chance. They basically became a one-dimensional team, and Tampa Bay was getting 3 points. So I took Tampa +3 in the second half, obviously covered pretty easy.
And what I actually read something that I haven't heard anybody say this, but I read an article, and I forget whether it was the Sports Bay or San Francisco Bay Sports, something. If you look at who the Eagles have played since they played San Francisco, when San Francisco beat them down in their house, they played a host of teams that had defensive coordinators who came out of the same coaching tree as Shanahan.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like that offense has a problem with that type of defense, like a structural problem.
Well, I would be surprised. There's talk Sirianni may lose his job.
He shouldn't.
What about the DC? I mean, that there has to be some changes somewhere.
First of all, the Eagles went into the season with replacing both of their coordinators, and then they replaced their defense coordinator halfway through the year. Yeah. That is a recipe for disaster in the NFL. Yeah. It's a shit show.
Yeah. Something's terribly amiss there.
So fine. Replace the defensive coordinator, get a real defensive coordinator in there, get a better OC. I don't care, but Sirianni shouldn't lose his job.
I agree. Folks, stick around. We're going to give you our NFL picks. I went 4-2 last week. Bob went 3-3. My one lock, which was the over, covered easy. That was the Cowboy game. And I got a great lock for you this week. Stick around for the rest of that.
Okay, so let's back up to the Cowboys game. Did the Packers cover the over all by themselves?
Almost. They missed it by 3 points.
That was another shocking.
That was an absolute, to you Cowboy fans out there, and I'm not a Cowboy fan, I'm more of a football fan, that performance was absolutely ridiculous. And Jimmy Johnson, I wish he could have saved his tirade and not done it on air. He should have gone down to the locker room at halftime, and maybe that would have inspired him. That team's a mess.
That game was so bad. I don't have any joy in making fun of the Cowboys in front of a Cowboys fan right now. I feel so bad for Cowboys fans. I actually feel bad for Cowboys fans. That game was so bad. So embarrassing.
It was terrible. Did you get a chance to watch that game?
Yeah, I did. I have to agree with Bob. I mean, I just don't think that there was much that could have been done to fix what happened on that field.
No, it's a mess. I think McCarthy's gone. I said it last week. I think at this point, Wyatt told you that they had to win Green Bay. And even if they had won this and lost the next one, depending on how much they would have lost by McCarthy, was still going to go. But now I think it seals the deal. I think that Jerry's waiting to make sure his girlfriend likes him before he ditches the old one, meaning I think he's in some secret negotiations. I don't know with who, but once he gets the guy he wants, McCarthy's gone. That's the only reason he's got McCarthy on the hook right now.
And nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change. It is not a head coaching problem, even though I think McCarthy is flawed. It's not a defensive coordinator problem, even though I think Quinn didn't call a defense worth his salt in that game.
Did he cost himself a head coaching job with that?
No, he's fine. He's fine.
Seattle?
I think he's at Seattle. Those receivers were so wide open. So either it's scheme or execution. And does that mean the defensive players are not executing well? And what about CeeDee Lamb in the first half? He looked like he was disinterested in life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of got an attitude when balls weren't coming his way. One thing I noticed about Dak, the old Dak, last year's Dak, again, he was zeroing in on a receiver, was not doing progressions, no checkoffs. I mean, I could tell where he was going to throw the ball.
But
No look off.
Unless what Jerry Jones needs to do is not what Jerry Jones is going to do. Jerry Jones needs to wipe the entire slate clean. The entire slate clean. That includes general manager, front office, head coach, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and he needs to deal Dak and start over. But he's not going to, because he is the front office. Here's my solution.
Well, at this point, he's 82 years old. He's probably saying, I'm not going to live long enough for a total rebuild.
Well, he's not going to win. He's not going to see a Super Bowl running this back again. My wish to Cowboys fans is this, and it's not going to happen. Bill Belichick in as general manager, Mike Vrabel in as head coach. That pair. And then I think everything's going to be
Belichick
okay.
has made some horrible personnel moves as a GM for the Patriots.
But put him in just that role. Just that role. But he wants to win his 15 games, beat Don Shula. So he's going to coach somewhere. But Vrabel's an interesting choice. But I think you need a better GM. And it's not Jerry, and it's not Jerry's son.
I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, although if you look at their drafts the past couple of years, they've hit the mark. It just seems like it's the product they put on the field. I mean, they've drafted some quality players and supplemented them with some really good free agent signings. But for whatever reason, the product on the field, let me throw some names at you. Pie in the sky. Just for the hell of it. Nick Saban.
No.
Jimmy Johnson.
No.
Bill Cowher.
No.
Mike Tomlin.
Won't leave
Said he
Pittsburgh.
won't leave.
Kick him out.
Would you, if he had been available?
Yes.
You know, Tomlin can work with the subpar quarterbacks he has. Maybe he could bring a little bit more out of Dak than.
And everyone in Pittsburgh who's asking for Tomlin's head, shut the fuck up.
Okay, here's one. Pete Carroll.
He's an interesting option, especially in Dallas.
And I'm just throwing that out there.
To be able to
just
work with
came off
Geno
the
Smith
top of my
the way he
head.
did.
Yeah, I mean, he would be a good choice. If I was him, I wouldn't go there without some, concessions on the general manager, player personnel decisions, and it's not taking them over. I'm not a real big fan of the coach being also the general manager and director of player personnel. I don't think that works in the majority of situations, and New England is going to be my example for the rest of time.
Yeah.
Because you have the greatest on-field coach of all time, and I will give that to Bill Belichick.
Really?
The greatest on-field coach? I am very specific about my language. Do I think he's the greatest coach of all time? No. On-field coach? Yes.
Well, having an on-field coach when Brady's your quarterback makes you the greatest on-field coach of all time, too.
Bill Walsh is the greatest coach of all time. Period.
I would put Walsh up there with Lombardi.
Yeah, and for me it's coaching tree. It's what's happened downstream.
That's a great point.
That's for me.
And his coaching tree is not.
Bill Belichick doesn't have a coaching tree.
Very porous.
Vrabel, I think, is the only example of success.
He's had a coaching tree, but the apples fall off the tree and land on the ground pretty quick.
It's like a family tree in Mississippi.
To all our Mississippi viewers, send the comments to Bob.
We're sure you're wonderful people. And your family tree has more branches than that.
Well, we're going to move on to our picks here in a minute, but Pittsburgh Buffalo game, thoughts on that? They just kind of buried themselves early.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Just kind of just gave it away. I mean,
I'm sorry.
I saw Bob and Drew, and we were talking a little while, and it seemed like we showed up and gave it to him on a golden platter. There wasn't much.
I mean, no offense intended, but worst 10-win team in NFL history.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how we got there.
But you know what I will say in their defense, they didn't give up during that game.
No, yeah.
They showed some fight, which I can't say the Cowboys or Eagles did, or Miami to an extent. And, they got that 14-0 hole early. Then Rudolph throws that interception when they're getting, so all in all, they, again, Tomlin doing Tomlin things.
Yeah, what did you have, like 4 quarterbacks this season?
Yeah, it was about 3. Yeah, started with Pickett, went over to Trubisky, and back to Rudolph. But third quarter, we looked all right. I thought maybe there was a chance of a comeback, and then it just went down.
No.
There, so.
See, I think what you guys have is what teams like Atlanta have, what teams like Tampa Bay, New Orleans are going to have to an extent. Obviously, the Carolina Panthers, really bad. But you've got these teams, and Pittsburgh and Falcons really come to mind. They have just enough talent to win you 7, 8, 9 games maybe, but they're not bad enough to slip down to get that elite quarterback that's out there.
Yeah, I mean the greatest stat right now is Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing.
That may rank up there for me as the Bills losing 4 Super Bowls in a row.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for anyone that's listening that thinks that that's a joke, it is not. The Bills losing 4 Super Bowls in a row, is a huge achievement.
Never be accomplished again.
Huge achievement.
Not the losing 4, but being in the Super Bowl 4 years in a row.
Now the Vikings losing 4 Super Bowls over the course of their history, that is a joke.
So on that subject, can't remember what I was going to say, Bob.
Well, I mean, you want to talk? I mean, Houston Texans.
Look at the Texans.
That was a surprise. I thought the Browns defense was going to do better against.
That was one of my calls. I called that.
Yeah, I know.
But I did say that, when's Flacco going to get pressured? When's he going to have his interception meltdown? We saw it.
In a row.
And he did. Stroud is doing things that I haven't seen a rookie quarterback do since Dan Marino, quite frankly. With his touchdown to interception ratio at 22-5, his QB rating, one of the highest. Probably Andrew Luck had the single best rookie season since Stroud, but I'm going to go out and say that since Dan Marino, no NFL rookie quarterback has had the season that Stroud has.
No.
3 of his interceptions were in one game.
Yeah.
Out of his 5. So he's just putting up some amazing numbers. The Browns were always a little suspect to me. I just think you can only go so far with a 39-year-old quarterback who was, I
thought their defense was going to do better.
And their defense
they shit the bed. There wasn't
nothing there.
Compared to the rest of the season, it doesn't even look like the same team that's playing.
Hold on a second. Before we leave the AFC North, let's see.
We'll put it in context, what we're talking about.
24, 34, 43 wins in the AFC North. Okay? AFC East, 33. I think I was right.
So we had a contest on which division was going to be tougher. You had said the AFC North. I went with Miami, Buffalo, that division. Didn't do it. But what's interesting is Bob's over there doing the dance. The only team you have left is the Ravens. The only team I have left in that division has anyone left? Buffalo.
I don't care. I don't care. I was right.
You were right.
And there's only four teams left in the AFC.
So let's go through the list here.
Wait, was there any other games? Did we miss any other games? Oh, the Detroit Ram game.
Great game.
Good game.
That was
Good
the best
game.
of the weekend, yeah.
You thought that Detroit's going to blow them out. I said, no, it's going to be a close game.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, the Rams had multiple chances to actually win that game outright.
The Rams had chances, and that all lays it up nicely for me because I think my 49ers right now look really good to go to the Super Bowl. Just saying.
Could be heading for that 49er-Baltimore rematch.
Okay,
Let's go through some games.
So we're going to start off Green Bay at San Francisco. Green Bay had a great game against the Dallas. Jordan Love had an amazing game for a rookie. I almost think Jordan Love's performance, it was better than Stroud's, given the fact that Dallas should on paper was a better defense.
Yeah. Although technically he's not a rookie, but yeah.
He's rookie enough.
Rookie year.
Yeah.
Speaking from the fact that hasn't had a chance to be a full-time starter.
So
what's the spread on that?
9.
What are your thoughts? We bet against the spread. Who do you like in that game?
For that game, I like the 49ers. Reason being, Jordan Love has been a little wishy-washy all year.
Although he's 20-1 the last 7 or 8 games, touchdown to interception ratio, which is insane.
Yeah, their schedule, the NFC North hasn't exactly been a barn burner.
Right.
So
You like them to cover?
I like Sand to cover.
Yeah, I'm going to go along with Jake, and I know Bob's going to agree. I think Green Bay comes back down to earth. I think San Francisco just has too much talent on both sides of the ball. Again, the key for Green Bay even surviving is to keep that offense of the 49ers off the field somehow and establish Aaron Jones, which they did against Dallas, and hope he has a big game.
They need a running game that outperforms. They need to play out of their asses. On defense, they need to make Purdy uncomfortable. And I don't know how you make Purdy uncomfortable with – I don't really have a great appreciation for their defense.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can do that. And quite frankly, 49ers defensive line, you're going to need that running game to put those guys on their back feet because otherwise they're going to kill Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Kill, K-I-L-L, capital K,
Yeah.
kill.
And the other weak link with the 49ers front line is they haven't been real good against the rush, so they do have to establish Jones. Having said that, Jordan Love to Green Bay comes back down to earth. The magical season's over. I see this covering pretty easy.
True. Okay, so the other game with the one seed.
We're in concurrent?
We are in concurrent. Is that a word? Concurrence?
Sounds right.
Concurrent? Okay. For all you grammar Nazis out there, whoa, I did just go full Hitler.
Uh-oh.
Last game last game with the number 1 seed, Houston on the road at the Ravens. Ravens are favored by 9 in this game.
This is my lock of the week. CJ Stroud's not your typical rookie. I don't like rookies on the road. I believe he had that meltdown game where they lost 30-0 against the Jets on the road a couple weeks by. Having said that, I just think Baltimore's got too much talent. I don't see Houston's defense putting a lot of pressure on Lamar, although I don't like his sack ratio. I think it's 1 sack per 13 attempts, which is kind of not good.
Okay.
But having said that, Baltimore wins this and covers easy. That's my lock of the week.
Okay.
Baltimore -9.
I kind of have a hot take on this game. I don't know. I did a little more research than
Drew apparently did.
Yeah, than Drew may have. So looking back at Lamar's bye stats week after bye, he's had an interception every game after a bye.
All right.
So with Houston's offense playing the way that they have, I mean, C.J. Stroud averaging 8.2 yards per pass. He hasn't had an interception in the last 5 games. and he's pretty much had a near perfect rating. So it's hard for me to say this, but if he gets that one interception, I think the Houston Texans offense and C.J. Stroud are going to take this.
So you're taking Houston?
Yeah, I'm going to take Houston.
Bob, your thoughts?
I don't think Houston wins this game outright. I really, really don't. As much as I want them to.
Yeah.
I really, really want them to. I don't want the Ravens to advance any further.
I don't think a lot of people do.
It's not that I don't like the Ravens. I've been very impressed with what Lamar Jackson has done with his career. I was very much a Lamar hater in the early part of his career. I thought he was, for me, the prototypical running quarterback. And for me, the book on running quarterbacks is they never progress in the NFL. They don't become more. Lamar has become more, and my hat's off to him. So I like Lamar. I think they're going to win the game, but 9's a lot. I wouldn't pick Houston on the money line, but I will take Houston
plus
the
the
points.
9. Yeah, I mean, I could be eating crow, but again, rookies on the road. I just don't think the secondary of Houston has really done enough to impress me, and I think Zay Flowers could have a monster game.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay, first game on Sunday. Tampa Bay, who not only beat down the Eagles, they got Baker Mayfield another $250,000 for winning that game.
Well, he's stacking up cash, isn't he?
Yeah, he won $1 million for getting in the playoffs, another $250,000 for winning a game. They're on the road at Detroit. Detroit's giving 6.5.
Still 6, yeah. So my thoughts on this is, Baker's had an incredible season, obviously. It took a while for Tampa Bay to establish their running game, but right now it seems like they're running the ball fairly well. Anytime you got the receivers that they have, you have the capability for a big play. I just think depth-wise that this matchup suits Detroit better than the LA matchup. So having said that, I think Detroit wins this game. I think they they put some pressure.
Yeah.
I think your Michigan Aiden Hutchinson puts a lot of pressure on Bradford, and I just think that they cover this, and they cover it relatively easy. Going to be close to about the fourth quarter, and then they just have too many weapons, too many options. And Goff's playing really, really good. I mean, talk about an unheralded guy this year, but if you look at his numbers,
353 yards last week.
The guy, it's a quiet 353, and he really had all the pressure on him. He was the guy that got traded for the guy he was playing against, and he played really well.
And a really, really good guy.
Oh yeah.
If you've been paying attention to some of the human interest stories that are around in the playoffs, some of the stuff Goff has done in Detroit to become a member of that community, my hat's off to him. Really good guy. They were chanting his name while they were booing Stafford. Which I don't know what is it with fans like going crazy with the booing and not like honoring a guy.
He was supposed to be their guy.
Did Popovich get on the field and yell at the fans?
Oh, shut up. Shut up. So what's your pick?
My pick's going to be the Detroit Lions. Reason being, like you said, yeah, I'm going to take the Lions on the cover. They have a ton of momentum. There's kind of a Cinderella story going on there in Detroit, taking them to Ford Field. I just don't see how they couldn't win this one.
Yeah, the
cover.
The coach is getting ready to be turned into a pumpkin again. And talking about and using that metaphor, I think the Tampa Bay run is done. Yeah. Southern divisions in both conferences suck.
Yeah.
Suck. Tampa Bay has outperformed. Interestingly enough, who has better stats in the playoffs as a Tampa Bay quarterback? Baker Mayfield? Tom Brady.
I saw the numbers. They were really close, but
Baker. Baker.
Mayfield. I said Bradford earlier.
Baker.
Brain cramp. Baker Mayfield. I said Bradford.
Baker. Okay. So I'm picking Detroit.
The players love Campbell. They play hard for him. I think Bowles actually did enough to save his job because right around midseason, he was one of my guys that was probably going to go if he didn't show some improvement. But I think they've done enough. They keep Bowles and move on from there.
So our final game of the weekend, Kansas City at Buffalo. It's still going to be cold up there, if not snowy. Buffalo favored by 3.
Bob, you go first.
Oh, I got to talk this out and not listen to your erudite analysis.
Would you like me to go first?
You can go first.
So this game, this is a tough one. I wouldn't touch this with your counterfeit money, Bob.
Okay.
But having said that, it's really, I know it sounds cliche, but it's going to come over down to turnovers and who makes them. And we know Josh Allen can turn the ball over. We know Mahomes is capable of turning the ball over. To me, it's just flip a coin. Just because they're at home, is the weather forecast for snow?
Right now, according to the forecast, 20 degrees and no precip.
As long as there's no precip, give me Buffalo to cover -3. Although, I'm going against what I said a couple weeks ago. I have a conspiracy, Jake.
What's that?
That the NFL is so interested in getting a new fan base that even when KC was going through that 3 and 4 game losing streak, I said they're still going to be in the Super Bowl because they want nothing more than to see Taylor Swift up there at the Super Bowl, shaking her moneymaker.
Well, I think the NFL needs a Kelsey, and we don't have Jason, and we're not going to have Jason next year either. Jason Kelsey's retiring.
It's a heartbreaker.
So, though apparently there's some rumors around that Jason really didn't like Travis and Taylor, that relationship. So who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe that's the reason why he's retiring. Maybe it's more to the conspiracy theory. He's being forced out. So who are you taking, Drew?
I don't know. I'm almost talking myself into taking KC. This is a tough one. If Josh Allen doesn't throw an interception, they win. Yeah. If he throws a pick, they lose. It's going to come down to Allen.
Please.
The play of Josh Allen.
So who are you picking?
I'm going to go ahead and stay with Buffalo.
Okay.
Cross my fingers that Josh Allen doesn't throw an interception.
You want to go?
No.
No, you want me to go? Yeah, so I agree with Drew. I think that the Buffalo Bills are going to cover, and reason being, they're going up to Orchard Park. Kansas City is, at least, and there's something about those fans, and I don't know what it is, but I can tell you, just getting whooped last week kind of helped me feel it a little more. But coming to that atmosphere, they've got the momentum that they have. I don't see there's any way that the Chiefs can come over and beat Buffalo at home, especially, by 3. Like Drew said, if Josh Allen throws an interception, it'll be hard to make the cover. I think they win no matter what. You got to look back. Last year came down to a coin toss. They have a lot of built-up tension there. So, if everybody stays healthy, I don't see why Josh Allen can't connect with Diggs.
Okay. I will point this out to both of you. The whole line of reasoning, if Josh Allen throws an interception, they lose. Do you know how many interceptions he threw against Miami in that last game of the season? 2. And they still won that game. Week 18, the last game of the season, which got them the number 2 seed and got Miami on the road to play in the really, really cold bowl and changed the whole tenor of the AFC playoffs.
But we're talking playoffs. Playoffs?
That game was a playoff game.
I got a stat for you. How many interceptions did the winning quarterbacks in Wildcard weekend throw this? There were 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
The winning quarterbacks. How many interceptions were thrown?
How many?
0. So that's the key. This time of year, the quarterback protecting the ball. And if Allen protects the ball, which I'm banking on him doing, they win this game. What are your thoughts, Bob?
I'm going to go contrary.
Of course you are.
I'm not going to go contrary because I think Allen's going to throw an interception. I'm going to go contrary because I'm going to roll with Mahomes. Mahomes and my auto.
Mahomie?
Because that is a team that and I don't like to think of it this way, but I'm going to put it this way. Disinterested in the regular season. They really don't play until the postseason because they're going to be there. They're going to be there. Now, they're going to be there and they're going to succeed as opposed to the Cowboys who are going to be there and do Cowboy things. So I expect Mahomes, who quite frankly right now is the best quarterback for me, still is. So give me Mahomes in Kansas City.
Well, we'll see. One of the knocks on KC is their receivers can't catch footballs.
I don't care.
And even Kelsey, uncharacteristically, was dropping a few balls. But if they establish Pacheco and they roll out Mahomes and he does some magical Mahomes things, which he's obviously capable of doing, they could win and should win. But again, this was a game that, man, this could go either way. But that's my thoughts. Anything else, guys, before we wrap this thing up?
No, I mean, do you want to talk about coaches? Where do you think Belichick ends up?
I'm fine with it. Belichick's going to go wherever he wants to go.
He's being courted by Atlanta.
I saw Atlanta, but then isn't that New England light? A decent defense, shitty quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically you're just trading a mirror image of each other.
Yeah, but I mean, there are some quarterbacks in the draft, and maybe that works. And Harbaugh right now was San Diego. I think he's interviewing also in Atlanta.
Now they're talking San Diego for Harbaugh. Whoever gets the San Diego job, that's your ready-made job. That's your cream of the crop job. You got Justin Herbert. You got a potentially Hall of Fame quarterback if he progresses through his career and wins a couple, a Super Bowl or something. You've got talent at receiver, running back.
Defense.
You've got a defense with some quality players. That's the premier coaching job that I see right now. The other ones, there's rebuild, and I don't know if Belichick really wants to go to a full-blown rebuild again.
I don't know if he has the time for it.
Exactly. So that'll be interesting to see who lands on the Atlanta job or the Dallas job. San Diego's probably going to go to Harbaugh if he wants it. If they interviewed him and he wants it, that's where he'll go.
I was very surprised by the speed by which New England replaced Belichick, which means to me that that's been in the works for a while.
So, yeah, well, we knew they weren't talking mid-season.
Well, I think they were talking about this. They were talking about this.
But I think Belichick they were pretty clear that marriage was over.
Yeah, and then Nick Saban. Man, he was replaced pretty damn fast, too.
Yeah. They've lost a lot of players to the portal. Hopefully Ohio State will pick one of them up.
Yeah, we'll see.
One other thing I wanted to mention, we had the debate about what should Chicago do with their draft pick. Fields is in his fifth-year option, right?
Yep.
So a lot of people are saying, why not just draft Caleb Williams, have him sit behind Fields this year? If Fields works out and becomes the NFL quarterback we hoped he would, and that's really more consistency, then you've got Caleb still as trade bait. And if it doesn't work out with Fields, then you've got your...
Nope. He's shaking his head.
I wouldn't waste my pick on Caleb Williams, especially not in the position they're in.
I said that last week.
With having Fields, I would say take Marvin Harrison Jr. Take Marvin Harrison Jr. and then get you a coordinator that can work with both of them.
I'm just throwing that out there. That's exactly what I thought. I thought Caleb Williams is one of those poor man Justin Fields.
Yep, poor man Justin Fields.
But the problem is, if he turns out to be a generational quarterback, then everyone goes back to Chicago again and says, look at the opportunity they had that they didn't take.
But you can't draft Caleb Williams and keep Justin Fields. You can't do that.
There's a lot of talking heads out there saying doing that.
Yeah.
Because Fields is a fifth year.
Yeah. And
you can have Caleb develop for a year.
He's not going to develop under Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a fifth-year quarterback. This isn't Jordan Love under Aaron Rodgers.
Even if he doesn't develop or gets hurt, Caleb will have his chance.
What was said when you had both Montana and Young on the same roster at San Francisco. If you have two quarterbacks,
But those were too established.
if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks.
Understand.
So I wouldn't do that. What I would do is it's an either or. Trade Justin Fields, get more draft picks, trade out the number one. Find a team that's going to give you more capital for the number one.
And you will
beef
get
up the team.
a huge haul.
Yeah.
I think Justin Fields is serviceable. I haven't given up on him yet.
No, I think.
And if you
Justin
can
Fields
get a draft haul for him
yeah, I think he can get the job
or
done.
Caleb,
And I would say keep the pick though. I mean Marvin Harrison Jr. There's no reason why he can't go one. The quarterbacks coming into this draft, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion. I don't think it's a 2020 draft as far as quarterbacks go.
who's the number 2 pick in this year's draft? I'm curious, who's the first team that actually needs a quarterback? Like,
I think it's
really?
Arizona. There's two.
Well, they don't need a quarterback. They got Murray.
Okay, let me pull it up. Washington Commanders.
So why don't you flip with the Commanders? They're going to take a quarterback. You can get Harrison with 2 and then get a haul from the Commanders.
Yeah, that's not a horrible idea.
I can see those two flipping.
Maybe. That's another job out there, the Commanders.
True. Another rebuild, though.
Yeah.
Okay, well, until next week, folks, we will see you again. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe. We'll see you next week on To The Max Sports.
Thanks for joining us, sir.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Come on back.
Yeah.
And
Peace out. OH.
I hope.